Hey, so this is a video about marathon training. I plan on making a series of videos about it. This one is just for my training plan. To train for a marathon, you really need about 16 to 20 weeks. I'm doing an 18-week training plan. It's a good base before you start marathon training, though, to be able to run at least 6 miles. So if you're not up to 6, you're probably going to need a little more time than 18 weeks to train. I'm following Hal Higdon's plans. I followed his plan from 5K to 10K to half marathon to full marathon. So I really like them. I really like how they're set up. There's different levels too. I mean, there's for all race distances, he has different levels. So, you know, there's some just finishing the race, and then there's increasing your speed. When I'm following his marathon training plan, Intermediate 1, I really like this one because it is 2 20-mile runs instead of the novice, which just has 1. And I just feel better doing 2 20-mile runs. But I mean, there's so many different plans. If you just Google marathon training plans, you're gonna find a bunch of them. It's just, you know, it has days of the week and then the weeks and what you're doing. For me, there's one day where I just totally take off. I'm not doing any cardio. I'm not running anything. I do that the day after I have a long run, just because you're so tired and sore. Typically it's on Sunday. It's always on the weekend. During the week, on Thursdays, I either do cross training or take off, which for me, I normally do cross training. I'm doing Insanity. I'm just because it's my favorite and I like doing it. There's really 5 types of runs that I'm incorporating into my plans. There's just a normal whatever run. You just go outside and go for a run. There's the long run, which I think is the most, for me at least, is the most important. I would never ever skip a long run. I think it's so important to get it in. The other 3 are just kind of speed runs. There's an interval run, tempo run, and fartlek runs. So an interval run, it's good if you have access to a track to do it around a track. If not, if you just know distances, how far you're going, you have a watch, use Nike Plus, whatever. You need to, what I typically do is I'll do a mile warm up, and then I'll increase my pace pretty quickly to basically a sprint for about a quarter of a mile, and then I will take a minute and a half rest. Still running, but just not sprinting anymore. And then I'll do another sprint, and I'll do that about 8 times, and then a mile cool down. So that's what I do for interval runs. You know, there's different distances you can do, but typically that's just what an interval run is. A tempo run is you do the entire run quicker than normal. So if I normally would run 3 miles at an 8:30 pace, I would try maybe, if I had a tempo run, to do the whole run at an 8-minute pace. And then fartlek running is a little similar to interval running, except it's just random. You're running at normal pace. What I do is I'll say, you know, I'm running at a pace and I see a tree down a while, so I'll just sprint to the tree, and then I'll go back down to my normal pace. I won't go to a resting pace. So if I'm running at an 8:30 pace and I decide to sprint to a tree, once I get to that tree, I go back down to the 8:30 pace. I don't drop below that. Another good thing is to incorporate hills into your training. Where I live, it's really hilly, so I don't have to worry about it. Lucky me. I think that anyone training for a marathon should really incorporate some kind of strength training into their program. I mean, you're not trying to build or bulk up or anything, but especially your legs, you know, doing high reps, doing squats and lunges at high reps, it's going to increase your muscle endurance. It's going to make you stronger, and it's ultimately going to help you in the marathon. When I first started running, I went a quarter of a mile and I was done, and I couldn't go any further, and half of it was downhill. You don't need to look like an Olympic athlete to run a marathon. There were girls during the marathon that were 20 pounds heavier than I was sprinting by me, and I was back there dying. You know, you don't need to be super lean. There were actually people, and they told me, they said that, you know, I need to cut down my legs. I'm not going to be able to run a marathon because my legs are too big. But yeah, my legs are big, but I ran a marathon. Don't let people tell you can't do it. And especially the one person that's going to tell you the most that you can't do it is probably yourself. Running a marathon is it's just so much mental for at least the second half of it, and it's really true. There is a quote that I love. It says, "Don't let your mind give out before your legs give out." Because a lot of the times, you know, you could keep going, but your head just tells you that you can't, and, you know, you have to not only train your body, but just train your mind. Another thing that I think is really helpful is to not same thing with weight loss. You know, you make these small goals. You don't just say, oh, I need to lose 100 pounds and just focus on that. You say, okay, I want to get to 180, and then I want to get to 160, and then et cetera, et cetera. Same thing with marathon training. Currently, I'm training for a half marathon. Ultimately, I'm training for the marathon, but, you know, you have to look at the small goals first, because if you look at, you know, just the whole marathon, you're going to get overwhelmed, and it's going to be daunting and scary. It's definitely something that you can do, and sign up, train, and get it done. I tried to make this as short as possible. Leave me a question, comment, subscribe. Awesome.